DA Bragg needs to explain why he killed the criminal investigation into Donald Trump when the prosecution team, led by Mark Pomerantz, found evidence during the course of the investigation that Pomerantz said proves beyond a reasonable doubt, the standard at a criminal trial, that Donald Trump committed multiple felonies, that it would be a grave injustice if he was not indicted and prosecuted for those multiple felonies. But Alvin Bragg gets elected, waltzes in, and kills that investigation. Now, I mean, just in case people don't know who Mark Pomerantz is, he's a 70-year-old practicing attorney, Harvard undergrad, Michigan law, Supreme Court justice. He did 2 stints as a federal prosecutor at the storied Southern District of New York U.S. Attorney's Office. First, as chief of their appellate division, the man knows the law. Second, as chief of their criminal division, where he successfully prosecuted mob boss John Gotti. He was also, for example, on the New York Mayor's Commission Against Police Corruption. He also represented lots of white-collar criminals as a private practitioner, and he is universally recognized as a subject matter expert in precisely these kind of white-collar and financial crimes that Donald Trump committed. This is a serious, serious attorney. And for him to put in that resignation letter, which Alvin Bragg tried to hide from us by lying and saying, his office released a press statement saying, well, you know, it's untrue that I am killing the investigation. Well, turns out that was a lie. So Bragg has lots to answer for, but first and foremost, he has to answer for why he would kill a righteous investigation. Because I was a prosecutor for 30 years. We have broad prosecutorial discretion, but guess what? It can be abused. And it looks like Alvin Bragg abused it, and we need to know why. We can't throw around charges of corruption yet because it hasn't been investigated, but it has to be investigated.
Yeah, it seems off to me. I mean, because he claimed with that press release that, well, we're just trying to, there wasn't enough evidence, but there were 2 witnesses that they wanted to interview in the grand jury, so don't kill the grand jury, get those witnesses up for the, quote, more evidence that he claimed he wanted. I mean, this is and why isn't the Attorney General, like the DOJ in the Southern District, now picking up what the DA in Manhattan had? Are they going to do that, do you think?
So a couple of things. First of all, violations of New York state law cannot be handled by the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York.
Okay, so what about the AG in New York?
Separate sovereign, separate jurisdictions. However, if we think back to the Trump Organization and Alan Weisselberg criminal indictments, because those men are still headed to trial, as far as we know, that man and that organization, there were also detailed in those charges federal crimes, right? Because there was federal income tax fraud and evasion. Those things have to be investigated, and I would suggest prosecuted by federal prosecutors. I hope that is underway, and we just don't know about it yet.
Right. And what about the state AG? Can't she pick that up and run with it as well? Because if the state income taxes were also badly done or fraudulently reported.
That's a great question, but the state AG, Tish James, doesn't really have criminal jurisdiction. She's involved in a civil. She handles, the AG's offices generally handle civil matters, not criminal matters. District attorney's offices handle criminal matters. There's a little bit of an exception for the state AG. She is allowed to exercise jurisdiction over certain business crimes. So it may be that she's picking up that piece of it, because as we know, she was part of a team with Cyrus Vance when he was the district attorney for Manhattan. So it may be that Tish James will now try to roll as much of the criminal business crimes into her civil fraud investigation, in which Donald Trump was ordered to sit for a deposition. But again, all of this, I think there's lots of moving pieces.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Trumps are trying to quash their depositions because they're claiming that if they speak, that can be used against them in a criminal court, which is accurate, but they can also plead the Fifth. And then their argument is, well, if we do that, people will infer. Well, that's kind of the point. So,
and let's remember, Judge Engoron is his name, the New York State Court judge. he said, and I've never seen judges put this kind of language in an order when all we're fighting over is whether a subpoena should be enforced or not. He said, I reviewed thousands of documents that have already been obtained by subpoena by Tish James. And then he went on to say, Tish James found, and I can pretty much quote it verbatim, copious amounts of possible financial fraud.
Yeah.
So there it is. There's another announcement that I think we can look at when we're trying to figure out why in the world would Bragg kill an investigation where, you know, the prosecutors are awash in evidence of Donald Trump's criminal fraud.